Welcome to Anxiety News with Christopher X Chaos. These three topics, ladies and gentlemen, I got them months ago, and my computer was acting up, so I decided to just let it chill and play a video in the background. I tried to find the three topics. I found two that are very similar and one that was exactly the one. Let's get right into them tonight. Welcome again. So this one's called phone anxiety. Now this is the exact same one that I found months ago. It's from South Florida Business Journal, but it's shortened down to bizjournals.com. Phone anxiety disorder, a growing phenomenon. Excuse me. I was just eating some cucumber avocado rolls. Oh, that goes for the light. Sorry, guys. I'm very unprofessional. So yeah, let's read into it. So telephonophobia is the clinical term for the fear of making or answering phone calls. Oh, so I thought this was gonna be like people being on their cell phones so they don't have to interact with other people, but no. This is the fear of making or answering phone calls. Experts describe it as a type of social anxiety now often experienced by workers under 40. That's it? Is that the whole article? Oh, preview. Oh, listen to it. Well, that's quite interesting. Why is that? Well, we know that it's been a gradual change where people have preferred to text for the longest. People now are getting back into phone calls and FaceTiming each other. The young people like to do this. It's odd for me. I don't like how I look up close. I'm not designed for that. But yeah, it makes sense people not want to. I mean, me being 36, I used to always have to be on the phone for my jobs. One of the cringiest things I used to have to do at Ace Cash Express, was call people and remind them that they had to come pay in loans. And that takes a skill to not come off as being an asshole while you're trying to remind them that you owe the company I work for money. It's quite interesting. And then when I worked at a clothing store called Levine's, I used to have to call other stores to see if they have the product that a customer might want, and we could either have them send it to us or we could send the customer over there. These days, I mean, last time I went to GameStop, it was almost like nah, we can't call them, but it's like they didn't really want to, and I get it, but it's annoying, ladies and gentlemen, and this is something that's brand new. Who knows what other phobias are going to come out of this new generation? Moving on. So the one that I got, this is from 7 months ago. It's probably around the same time. It was on MSN, but it's a different article. But it talks about how heat can worsen depression and anxiety. That's the one I wanted to read. But this one says, can I get seasonal depression in the summer? Now, in the winter, I get seasonal depression because there's not enough sun. I need the sun. But this is saying some people get seasonal depression in the summer, which I understand as well. When the summer heat, and this is from MSN.com, when the summer heat and humidity climb to unbearable levels, meteorologists, school administrators, and government officials often discuss ways to stay cool. But what about the impact on our mental health? Heat records are being broken with regularity, and last year was no exception. So this is from 2024. During a brutal and deadly summer in 23, July became the hottest month ever recorded with modern equipment. What are we looking forward to this year, ladies and gentlemen? This July was not just warmer than any previous July, it was the warmest month in our record, which goes back to 1880, said Gavin Schmidt, director of NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies. After the record fell, the science is clear that this isn't normal. Alarming warming around the world is driven primarily by human-caused greenhouse gas emissions. And that rise in average temperatures is fueling dangerous extreme heat that people are experiencing here at home and worldwide. Now, some scientists do argue that these are changes that the Earth will go through whether or not we existed. I'm in the middle. I don't know. But I've also read, this helps my anxiety because I read the Bible through and through. Well, I read it once all the way through. And the Apocrypha and the Gnostic Gospels. And the Apocrypha, there's a book where there's a dude named Ezra who fasts and talks to an angel, and the angel answers his questions. And one of his questions was like, a lot of his questions were why this and why that. But at one point, God said to the angel to tell Ezra, that's why, for this reason, I made two earths. And when you grow up and you find out they're not really recycling the plastic and shit like they said they were, you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to stress over something I can't really. When there's countries that are burning tires and shit. Side rant. The human body is really sensitive to heat. Dr. Susan Albers, a psychologist with the Cleveland Clinic, told Nexstar, but a heat wave can also take a toll on the mind. They say it's hard to truly sleep too when you're hot. Warm weather usually helps their mental state, but excessive heat does exactly the opposite, Albers said. What studies have shown is that when the heat goes up, people are more irritable, angry. They have a lot of discomfort, difficulty sleeping, and cognitive issues. Like 50 said, summertime is the killing season. Heat in our mind. Seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, is usually tied to winter, but experts say there's a subset. Now, not SAD, just regular SAD. It's SAD, capital letters on every letter. But experts say there's a subset of people who experience major depression during the summertime. Kelly Rohan, PhD, a clinical psychologist at the University of Vermont who studies the seasonal phenomenon, told the American Psychological Association that summer SAD is understudied, but appears to be linked on how some people experience heat and humidity. I mean, that's why I shaved my head, because having hair just adds to that irritability. Some of the same neurotransmitters like norepinephrine, dopamine, and serotonin that are involved in mood regulators are also involved in thermoregulation, Rohan said. So maybe there is some dysfunction in one or more of these neurotransmitter systems that confers to a risk of depression, as well as the inability to tolerate heat and humidity. I mean, for sure, I think some bodies and some people are used to a different kind of climate than others. While less common than it is in the winter months, Rohan said those who suffer from SAD in the summer tend to, I got the summertime sadness, tend to report weight loss, diminished appetite, and insomnia. This is the opposite of common winter SAD symptoms, which often include weight gain, food cravings, and sleeping too much. Summer type SAD may have a behavioral or cognitive component, as sufferers trying to avoid the heat isolate themselves at home for days or weeks. Heat can affect mental health in a variety of ways, research shows. A 2022 study found that on the hottest days of the year, there was an 8% jump in mental health crisis that resulted in a visit to a hospital emergency department when compared to the coolest days. Because not everybody's cool. The conditions include substance use disorders, anxiety, stress, schizophrenia, delusion, self-harm, and child-onset behavioral disorders. Researchers found that there were higher rates in the Northwest, Northeast, and Midwest, possible because homes in those regions were less likely to have air conditioning than other areas, such as the South Side, yeah. The importance of staying cool. When it comes to the connection between mood and the weather, Dr. Albers recommends a number of self-care measures people should take. Whenever possible, do errands or outdoor chores before 10 and remain indoors during the hottest parts of the day. I also tell my clients to take cold showers, take a cold washcloth, put on your forehead or behind your neck. And this is going to help you to cool off really instant. Bro, drink cold fucking water. Keep some cold fucking water on you and drink the hell out of it. Experts say nearly all psychotropic medications, with the exceptions of benzodiazepines, can further lower the body's defense against heat, elevating the possibility of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. It's like if you're rolling, just keep some water. Heat impacts neurotransmitter production, our sleep, and the quality of our hormone regulation, Albert said. So these three factors are significantly impacting our mood, and the interplay between these two things can make or break our mood. In the short term, we can manage the symptoms of heat day to day, staying inside, being cool. People who are already struggling with aspects of their mental health may be especially vulnerable during a protracted heat wave. And Albert says that the best time to check on the people and on loved ones. Some red flags that you're really struggling emotionally are changes in your daily functioning. Albert's told Nexstar, you're having difficulty getting to work, changes in appetite, your sleep. Those are some primary red flags, and it's time to check in with your mental health provider or physician. I don't get depressed in the summer. For the past few summers, I've taken off. I've taken vacation. I mean, I get stressed because I use all my money. But the summer, I like the sun. I really like the sun. What? Oh, we have one more, ladies and gentlemen. All right, this one is also similar to the one that I wanted to find, but it's different. This one came out in August 23, 2024, around the same time as the other article I was looking for. So, for goodness, it's about the same, close enough. How to trust your gut instead of overthinking. The other one I wanted to read was something about anxiety and maybe needing to listen to your gut, but it's very similar. This is from Psychology Today. Everyone has had the experience of immediately knowing a solution or an answer without being aware of exactly how or why we know it. Though intuition is not always accurate, studies have indicated that by using both gut feelings and analytical thinking at the same time, your decisions are quicker, better, and more accurate than they would be if you left your intuition out of it. Surveys of top executives have proven that when most of these leaders are faced with crisis, they base their decisions on a blend of both emotional cues and past experiences. Even in the U.S. Navy, teaches Marines and sailors to listen to their guts, since instinct tends to outperform intellect in combat and other high-stakes situations. What science has proven about trusting gut feelings, contrary to popular belief, intuition is actually a function of the nervous system. Your digestive tract contains 100 million neurons, which comprise an enormous neural network. That's why scientists refer to the digestive system as the second brain. Mm-hmm. Is that light? Is it computer? Is it? All right, we're going. The gut contains more neurons than the spinal cord. Goodness, which shows how powerful its processing abilities really are. We all know the feeling of evaluating a decision with the pit in our stomach. That's one of the ways that the gut makes its feelings known. How do you do intuition when making decisions? Those who identify as highly sensitive experience gut feelings more strongly than most people, but they're often encouraged to disregard what their gut tells them. High sensitivity allows you to recognize, process, and integrate information deeply, including information about the emotions of those around you, since you are continually taking in more data than 80% of the population who do not share your trait of high sensitivity. Interesting. Superpowers, maybe? Your intuition is more highly developed as a result. Unfortunately, you have probably been encouraged to downplay this data and underutilize this personal strength. Indeed. When you deliberately practice using your intuition, you strengthen it. The following tactics can help you start to leverage your intuitive sense as a tool in your decision making. Know the difference between gut feeling and fear. When we feel afraid, our bodies tend to chime in with constricting or minimizing sensations. This may include feelings of panic, tension, or desperation. There's a sense of a pushing energy, like we're struggling to use force or decide out of the desire to sidestep danger, punishment, or rejection. We also tend to criticize ourselves when we're fearful. Intuition has a pulling energy. Its guidance feels like we're maneuvering ourselves in the optimal direction, even if that means taking a risk or taking our time. Intuition can include feelings of being at ease or content, or excited and full of positive anticipation. Your body tends to relax. Gut feelings speak in a voice that's wiser and more grounded, almost like you're listening to a trusted mentor. Make small decisions first. Let yourself speak up in a meeting without overthinking what you say or holding back. Select an outfit you feel drawn to without considering the pros and cons. You can raise your comfort levels by following intuition and making speedy, low-stake decisions. This avoids overwhelming and lays the groundwork for making bigger, more consequential decisions later on. By starting small, you'll strengthen your abilities to tolerate distress and to self-regulate your emotions even when you are uncomfortable. Take your choices out for a test drive. Try role-playing instead of thinking too much. If you're contemplating a career shift into a new industry, pretend you've already made the decision to go with option A and act accordingly. Pay attention to your thoughts and emotions. After doing this for 2 or 3 days, try option B on for size and act as if you decided not to switch industries after all. When the 4 to 6 days of role play are done, evaluate your reactions to each possible choice. Take everything you mean to not make a joke. Experiment with snap judgment tests. Thin slicing or utilizing rapid cognition can let your brain choose without thinking too much and help you learn to trust your gut more. The snap judgment test will let you try this out. Make a list of questions on paper like, would I find more joy in another line of work? Write out yes and no below the question. Set the pen down. Wait a few hours, then go back to the page and circle your answer without thinking. You might not like the answer, particularly if it's a big question, but it's likely that snap judgment just forced you to give an honest answer. Lean on your values. There's an Odd Pie episode we just dropped about values. Viewing your emotions through the lens of your core values can help you understand why certain events and circumstances trigger negative feelings. For instance, if you feel agitated in the aftermath of a bad day at work, maybe the cause of this tension is the fact that you're hiding how you really feel about an important factor. If one of your core values is honesty, you might find that distressing. By checking in with your values in light of your current circumstance, you may gain insight and determine what's out of balance. Take time today to contemplate which 1 to 3 values mean the most to you. When you find yourself next facing a difficult decision, consider which outcome is most aligned with your core values. Intuition can relax your inner tension and stave off looping thoughts. One last thing to keep in mind is that intuition doesn't thrive in stressful, fast-paced environments. Let your mind wander and find connections that you couldn't see before. While intuition isn't perfect, it can be a great tool when making decisions. Most people don't use it very much. If you try these strategies, you're likely to come to the conclusion that intuition is a more powerful tool in your decision-making toolkit than you'd ever imagined. This is by Melody Wilding. Nice name. A professor of human behavior at Hunter College, an executive coach, a licensed social worker, and the author of Trust Yourself. Real shit. Real stuff. Sorry. I think certain things were designed to dull down our intuition. The apps, social media. All right. Thank you for joining Anxiety News, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time. What? Why are you still recording?